Your child looks at you, this child you would do anything for, and says the words that feel like a hand reaching into your chest. I hate you. And something happens inside you in that moment that has nothing to do with parenting philosophy or conscious choices or the books you've read. Something old and automatic rises up. Your face changes. Your body tightens. And one of two things happens. You either say something you immediately regret, or you go completely silent, which somehow feels worse. And then you spend the rest of the day wondering what kind of parent you are, and what kind of relationship you're building with your child, that they would say something like that to you. Here is what no one tells you about those 3 words. They are not an attack. They are not evidence of a damaged relationship. They are not a sign that something has gone wrong in your parenting. They are, according to child development research, one of the clearest signals that your child has formed a secure enough bond with you to show you their most overwhelming emotion without fear of losing you. They are saying I hate you because they trust you to survive it. And because they don't yet have the brain development or the emotional vocabulary to say what they actually mean. This video is going to tell you exactly what is happening in your child's brain and in yours when those words land. And it is going to give you a 5-step, science-backed response that works without requiring you to be a perfect parent with infinite patience. Let's get into it. Step 1. Understand what your child is actually saying. When a child under 10 says I hate you, they are not communicating what that phrase means to an adult. Adults use the word hate with its full weight, as a persistent, considered emotional state toward a person. Children are using it the way they use any word they've discovered produces a strong response. They are reaching for the biggest language available to communicate the biggest feeling they're currently experiencing. Clinical psychologist Rebecca Schrag-Hirschberg describes it precisely. For a young child, I hate you simply means I'm really mad at you. They want you to understand how serious this feeling is. They want you to feel something close to what they're feeling. And in their developing brain, that word is the most powerful tool they have available. Here is what they are actually trying to communicate, in the language they don't yet have. I cannot handle what is happening right now. You are not understanding me. I feel completely powerless in this situation. Or I hate feeling this way and I'm directing it at the person I'm most connected to. None of those sentences are available to a child whose emotional vocabulary is still in its earliest stages of development. So they reach for the biggest word they know and use it as a blunt instrument. Think of it this way. Imagine you are in physical pain, severe acute pain, and you are 3 years old with the language of a 3-year-old. You cannot say I am experiencing a level of physical discomfort that significantly exceeds my current capacity to regulate it. You say ow. The ow is not an accurate clinical description. It is the available tool for communicating overwhelming physical sensation. I hate you is the emotional equivalent. It is the ow of a child who is completely overwhelmed and reaching for the strongest available expression. This is not a diagnosis of your relationship. This is a vocabulary limitation meeting an overwhelming emotion. Step 2. Understand what is happening in your child's brain when they say it. This is the piece that makes everything else make sense. When a child is dysregulated, when their emotional experience exceeds their capacity to manage it, their amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for threat response, activates. When the amygdala activates at high intensity, the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for language, logic, planning, and emotional nuance, goes offline. It's not a choice. It's neurobiology. Your child is not selecting I hate you from a mental list of possible phrases and deciding it is the best option. Their prefrontal cortex is not available for that kind of selection. What is available is the amygdala's emergency broadcast. I am overwhelmed. I need this to stop. The loudest, most available language fires. The developmental piece matters too. The prefrontal cortex doesn't fully mature until approximately the mid-20s. In a child under 10, it is in its earliest stages of development. Emotional regulation, the ability to feel a big feeling and respond to it proportionately, is a skill that develops gradually, through repeated experience and scaffolding from a calm, regulated adult. Your child is not yet capable of doing what you wish they could do in that moment. Not because of who they are, because of when they were born. And here is the counterintuitive piece that changes everything. Research in attachment consistently shows that children express their most intense negative emotions most readily with the people they feel most securely attached to. They say "I hate you" to you because you are the person they trust most not to leave. They are testing the unconditional part of unconditional love. And the way you respond tells them whether they're right to trust it. Step 3. Understand what is happening in your brain, and why this is the hardest part. Here is why parenting books that tell you to stay calm are so frustrating. They tell you what to do without telling you why it's so difficult. And it's difficult because the words "I hate you" from your own child don't just land in your conscious mind. They land in your nervous system. They activate your own threat response. They touch places in you that were formed long before you became a parent. Places where being rejected by people you love means something significant and old. When your child says "I hate you," your amygdala also fires. Your prefrontal cortex also partially goes offline. You are now two dysregulated nervous systems in the same room, both reaching for the loudest available language or the most protective available silence. And the only thing that can interrupt that dynamic is one nervous system choosing to regulate first. That nervous system has to be yours. Not because you have unlimited capacity, but because you have more developed prefrontal cortex function than your 7-year-old. You have the biological advantage of a more mature brain. And you can use that advantage to do something your child genuinely cannot yet do for themselves. This is what Dr. Dan Siegel calls co-regulation. Your calm nervous system can literally help regulate your child's dysregulated one, through your voice tone, your facial expression, your body language, and your physical proximity. But you cannot co-regulate your child's nervous system from inside your own dysregulation. You have to get there first. Step 4. The 5-step response that actually works. These 5 steps are not a script to memorize. They are a sequence to understand so that when the moment comes, you have a direction to move in rather than an automatic reaction to follow. The first step is the pause. Not a punitive silence. Not a cold withdrawal. Conscious pause. Before anything comes out of your mouth, you take one breath, literally one breath. And you use that breath to locate yourself. Your child just said "I hate you." You feel it in your body. That feeling is real and valid. And it is not the boss of what you do next. The pause is the single most powerful intervention available to you in that moment. It is the space between stimulus and response where your prefrontal cortex can come back online enough to choose rather than react. The second step is to lower your physical position. Get down to your child's level. If they're standing, you crouch or kneel. If they're on the floor, you get on the floor. This is not a metaphor. It is a physical instruction. Research on threat communication shows that an adult standing over a dysregulated child while responding activates additional threat response in the child's nervous system. Getting lower communicates physically that this is not a confrontation. Your body is saying something important before you say a word. The third step is to name what you see before you address what they said. Not "you shouldn't have said that." Not "we do not use those words in this house." Not even a long explanation of why what they said was hurtful. The first words out of your mouth should be an acknowledgement of their emotional state. "You are really upset right now. I can see how big this feeling is. Something about this feels really unfair to you." You are not agreeing that they were right to use those words. You are making contact with the feeling underneath the words. And that contact is what creates the opening for everything that comes next. Why does this work? Because the amygdala cannot receive new information while it is in full activation. You cannot reason with, teach, or discipline a dysregulated child. But you can help their nervous system regulate, through acknowledgement, through warmth, through your own calm presence. And as their nervous system begins to regulate, their prefrontal cortex comes back online. And that is when teaching becomes possible. The fourth step is to set the limit on the language without shaming the feeling. After the acknowledgement, not before, you add the boundary. Something like, "I know you're really upset. And in our family we don't say 'I hate you' when we're angry. It's okay to be angry. It's not okay to use those words." Notice the structure. The feeling is valid. The language is not acceptable. These two things are said separately so the child's developing brain can file them separately. The feeling is not being rejected. The behavior is being redirected. That distinction is everything. The fifth step is to stay present until the storm passes. Don't walk away to give everyone space the moment you've said your piece. Don't send them to their room immediately after the boundary is set. Stay nearby. Stay regulated. Stay warm. Not hovering, not speaking continuously, but present. Available. The message your nervous system is sending while you simply remain in the room is, I am not going anywhere. You can feel whatever you feel and I will still be here. That message is what builds the attachment that makes them less likely to use those words next time. Not the consequence, not the lecture, not the punishment. The staying. Step 5. The repair, and why it matters more than the response. Here is the part that most parenting content skips. What happens after the moment has passed matters as much as what happens during it. When your child has calmed, when both nervous systems are back in a regulated state, you come back to what happened. Not with a lecture. Not with a reminder of how hurtful those words were. With curiosity and connection. Something like, earlier you were really upset and you said you hated me. I want to understand what was happening for you. What were you feeling? This serves two purposes. It gives your child an opportunity to develop the emotional vocabulary for what they experienced. You are essentially coaching them toward the words they didn't have in the moment. And it models something crucial. That big emotions can be talked about after the fact, that relationships can be repaired, and that the people who love us can handle our most difficult feelings and come back to us afterward with curiosity rather than punishment. Dr. John Gottman's research on emotion coaching shows that children who are consistently helped to identify and articulate their emotional experiences develop significantly stronger emotional regulation, better peer relationships, and greater academic resilience over time. The repair conversation after the I hate you moment is one of the most powerful emotion coaching opportunities available to you. Don't skip it. The bigger picture, what you're actually building. Every time your child says I hate you and you respond without matching their dysregulation, without the counterattack, without the withdrawal, without the devastated silence that places your emotional needs above their developmental ones, you are teaching them something that will shape every significant relationship they have for the rest of their life. You are teaching them that love is not conditional on behavior. That the people who love them can be trusted to hold the relationship steady when their emotions are at their most overwhelming. That it is safe to have big feelings near the people who matter most. And that those feelings, even the ugliest sounding ones, do not have the power to destroy what exists between them and the person they love most. This is what secure attachment actually looks like in the moments when it is most tested. Not the easy moments when everyone is regulated and the parenting looks beautiful from the outside. The moments when your child reaches for the biggest, most wounding language they have, and you stay. You lower yourself to their level. You name their feeling before you name their mistake. And you remain present while the storm moves through. Your child does not hate you. They hate feeling something they don't have the brain development to manage yet. And they chose to bring that feeling to you because somewhere in their developing nervous system they already know, even if they could not say it, that you are the safest place they have. That is not a failure of your relationship. That is your relationship, doing exactly what it was built to do.